Welcome everyone to Neverwinter on PC. My name is Rainer and today I have some nice updates about the Mastercrafting sheet I released recently. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and if you would like to see more informational videos about Neverwinter, hit the subscribe button. So, I am not even in the game right now, but this video is purely about the Excel sheet I made. Last time I got some requests of people who wanted to download an offline version of the sheet, and I'm happy to say that I am able to offer a download link now, thanks to my buddy at the Neverwinter Uncensored website. The online version will also be available, of course, for people who prefer that. Today I want to first walk through the changes that I have made in the sheet and how to interpret them. So this is the new version 2.0. You can already read what I did. And second of all, I want to look ahead on what I have planned, what my ideas are, what I want to do. Of course, if you have any input on those ideas, other ideas that you want to have added, and I appreciate anything. So just let me know what you think. So first of all, the changes. The search. This one has not been available in the offline or the online version because Google Docs does not support it. But now that you can get an offline version, you will be able to use this. So I think I showed this before, but here, for example, if you type in raid ring and you press the search task name, this will bring you, it does take some time, it will bring you to all the raid rings that you can make, all the recipes, and spoiler alert, also some prices. You can also find all the masterwork stuff and it will all put it all together if you want that. And you can also, I added this actually, search for resources used. So if you want to find all the recipes that use alkali, you can press this button and it will find, well, the search takes a little bit. It will find 14 results, but you can see here all the stuff that uses alkali, one or more. And you can also see where stuff is produced. I think alkali is not produced anywhere, but if we go to Artisans Animal, they should have, well, at least one recipe, but typically if you get a tier 2 you also get, okay, so this one actually only has one. So that's the search. This is now available, which is great. So the next thing is the config. I already showed you this in the last video. I added this. It's very, very basic. I'm actually thinking about removing this, but you can enter here the percentage for any profession that you have for the Mastercrafting tasks. So you definitely need a forge hammer, and then if you have 3 epic tools, you will always have a 75%. If you have legendary tools, this percentage will go up. If you didn't do Mastercrafting tier 2 yet, you will have a lower percentage. So adapt this to whatever you have. Then we have the resources screen. This has gotten quite a big overhaul. The resources all are color coded now, so they have the color that they also have in game. The prices are in here. As you can see, I filled everything in for the 13th of September, and I also have a price history. So if you want to make a new price here, my idea was to do a copy, insert them here, then delete these prices, and then you can fill in new prices. If the price is not filled in, it will light up a little bit. Okay, I've missed a couple. Anyway, let's not do this. So these are all auction house prices. Assorted volumes, I've never seen the auction house actually. So The other things, you can see how to obtain all the resources. It's not done yet, but it's a decent start. You see here, I know you get calf skin from the traveling merchant, but I don't know vendor price yet, so these also light up. The gray fields in 80 per guild mark mean that except for this 250, you also need other items to make this, so the calculation is not fair, so I just grayed it out, I removed it. But the main concern here are the prices, and you will see that later, and you already have a sneak preview in the search results screen. The masterwork items screen is also new. Here are all the items that are involved in Mastercrafting which are not used as a resource. So these are all final items, and they also have a price. They also have some additional information. I want to add some here. This is all work to do. You can fill in a price here. If you don't, you can still use the sheet, but it's better to fill it in if you have the chance. So I filled in some of the rings, for example. But yeah, most sheets also have filters here, so you can select whatever profession you want, of course, and then go quicker through the items, because there are quite a few items in here. Let me see. Yeah, there are 512, because it has a header row. 512 final items in Mastercrafting, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, so the tool sheet, I talked a little bit about it in the config sheet. I did change the tool sheet to not only show the tools that are meant for a profession, but also the tools that are somehow used for a profession in Mastercrafting recipes. So there are Mastercrafting recipes, or at least one, that uses a battle pusher in the millsmithing profession, which is very odd, but yeah, I don't know what they were thinking. It is important for if you want to really specify exactly what legendary tools you have and what percentage you have for each recipe. But yeah, this is purely informational at the moment. It doesn't serve any big purpose yet. Yeah. So next up is the unlocking recipes we already had. Then we have the commissioned items. This list now has all the prices, and I also showed this last time, but now with the prices filled in, you can see here how much each commissioned item costs to make, and also which one is the best, because not each of them makes the same amount of trade credits. And you can see how much it will cost you to make 50,000 trade credits with this cost at the moment. So this line here shows, I should make this line always visible, but you can see here that the shipwright bolts in millsmithing actually are the cheapest way to make 50,000 trade credits. It's only 1.4 million AD, which is pretty cheap. I think I made this with alchemy. I used medicinal tea, I think, but I didn't have this overview, so you can save a lot of AD if you use this information. Alright, and then we come to the recipes. All the recipes now have the cost to make, to consume all your items. So this column contains all the items you require for the recipe, and this is basically the cost of those items plus the cost of rushing the recipe. So if you want to produce the recipe immediately for 3 hours, you need 6,000 extra, and these 4 green vitriol are 5 each, so it's 6,020. The rush cost is also added in here directly, because most people don't want to wait for it. Then we have the AD produced, which is a calculation of tier 2 and tier 3 based on the percentage that you filled in the config sheet. So in this case, we get 25% of the time this green vitriol and 75% of the time this all of vitriol. and this is a combination of those two. So since this one is red and lower than this one, producing this one, at least with the rush cost, is a loss. If you don't rush it for some reason and you just want to wait, of course, this is very cheap. There's also a third column in here for all of the professions, and this is how much it would cost you to make one of these, independent of the tier 2. So and it doesn't require a price for this one. So even if you have here a legendary gilded ledger, you look at basically these items, it costs this much to make. So this calculation looks at the cost to make this. It multiplies this cost by 100, and the cost of the return value of these, in this case 25 times, because it's 75% chance to make this, is removed from that cost and then divided by 75. Maybe this is very difficult to follow, but this calculates how much this item is costing you to make, basically. And for some reason, sometimes it can be less if the tier 2 value is already more than what is consumed. Maybe we can quickly find the... It doesn't happen often. No, I cannot find. Yeah, here, for example. So here you can see the tier 3 cost is cheaper. So this item, the cost to make this is cheaper than the cost to of the items that you need to make it. That means that these items are actually cheaper than one lock varnish. So even if you make a tier 2, you still have profit. And you can see, because this one is green, that this recipe at the moment is very profitable, even if you rush it. So you have a couple of colors here. You have red, which means the recipe has a negative return value. Then you have black, which means that it's okay, but yeah, you don't have a big profit. Then you have yellow. Maybe the black and yellow should be turned around. But the yellow means you have some profit, but it's not super much. It's, I think, between 1.5 and 2. And the green value means that you get more than double your the money that you put in. So you get more than double your money back. You also have no auction house value, and that basically means that you didn't fill in any value, either for the tier 2 items, the resources, sometimes you also get items here, or for the masterwork item. And then you get here no auction house value, and you can use this value to see what the value of this is. And this, of course, is filled in for everything now. One thing, in the offline version, some of the fields are blocked, so I cannot select any recipes here. I want to keep these clean and for personal use. You don't need to edit these recipes. So you can still update prices. So these prices are perfectly editable. You can even edit this if you want. It will break stuff, but be my guest. And then you can also edit these, of course, if you want. But the recipes, if you find a bug in there, let me know so I can fix it so that everyone will benefit from the fix. So those are the changes. It's quite a lot. I did quite a lot in the last 2 weeks. So looking ahead, the search. This is quite messy and empty at the moment. I am thinking about adding a item search here, which gives the recipe for that item and also the recipes required to produce the resources for that recipe. This one requires some programming, but it should be possible. Then the config. As I already mentioned, I maybe want to remove this one again at some point. I want to calculate the percentage from the tools page. So if I add in here that you can fill in which legendary tools you have, it can be calculated, and then the sheet can use that automatically. So that's the change I want to make here, but that's long term, I think. Then the masterwork resources, it already contains a lot of information, but it's not complete, as I said. Any help I can get is very appreciated. For the items, actually the same thing, lots of info to add. I want to add the class, maybe for some items the stats even, but maybe that's overdoing it a bit. As I said, we have a lot of items here, so maybe that's a little bit too much. Then the unlocking recipes, I am planning on adding the cost per unlock here. So for instance, how much is the cost to unlock this alchemy, or this one, or this one? If you have the prices filled in, this one should be able to give you the cost per step, and also the full cost of unlocking Masterwork 5 on all recipes, which gives some insight on how expensive it actually is. And of course, I have heard of the upcoming rework on professions. I don't think it will affect the recipes themselves, I hope, because otherwise this will all be in vain. But I will keep a close eye on the changes, of course, and trust me to keep you informed on these changes as well. That's it for this time. As always, the links are in the description. Let me know what you think. I appreciate all the feedback as long as it's positive or constructive. If you have any remarks in this video or any suggestions on what to investigate next, feel free to leave a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.